Welcome back, and for those of you watching, you'll see there's some festive cheer today. Santa hats are out in force, try to lift the mood. Despite, Aberdeen doing that as well, just, try to lighten everything up, given the news at the weekend.
Oh, look at us go. How festive is this? In synchronization and everything. Again, you said, try to lift the mood a bit. Sort of, how things been, Glenn?
I think, like everybody, given the news at the weekend, it's feel a bit down in the dumps. And, we spoke last week, actually, once we stopped recording, both of us, unknown to each other, were struggling, not having the best day. And speaking to each other, recording this podcast, kind of helped each other's mood, lifted each other up. And I just hope that, people out there are struggling. I've not had a particularly great day today. Just, it's close to Christmas. I'm not feeling particularly festive despite the Santa hat. Although maybe tune in for the Motherwell review. Get the Christmas waistcoat out. But this tonight recording this was something to look forward to, and it's Pittodrie is a happy place for many people. We use the Jordan North happy place Pittodrie, but right now we can't get to our happy place. So watching and speaking about Aberdeen is the next best thing, and being able to do that with you, CALUM'S, is really helpful when I'm having a down day. So yeah, just hope that if there's anyone else out there struggling, feel free to message the Twitter page. Our direct messages are open, or if you want to just message us individually, our messages are open there as well. But
Up here somewhere, the arts will be.
yeah, but Callum, yourself, how are you coping?
Yeah, not great news with all the tier nonsense, and I don't even know anymore. It's just the whole place going to lockdown. But I suppose just in the same boat as everyone, really. Just got to get on with it as best we can, and just be there for each other, see how people are doing, and that kind of thing. And just got to do the
Yeah,
best we can.
absolutely. But if there is anybody struggling that doesn't want to get in touch with us, you can text shout to 85258, and you will get a free call from someone that is prepared to listen to you and try and help you the best you can. It is a tough time for everybody. There are people struggling, but you just have to be there for everybody and look out for one another.
Exactly, yeah, echo that completely.
So, on to the football side of things, which kind of lifted our spirits. Always nice talking about a victory. 2-0 win. Messrs Hedges and Cosgrove grabbing the goals to make us 18 unbeaten at Rugby Park. Nice being back-to-back wins.
Oh, look at us go. Two back-to-back wins, two clean sheets. Just, we're flying, I tell you.
Yeah, and that takes Ryan Hedges to 8 goals for the season. What would be your one word to sum up Sunday's game?
Um, Fortunate in a
Hmm.
sense. In a sense, just a bit fortunate mainly with the first goal, and then the second goal was a bit as well, considering it was the world's most stupid red card you've ever seen. What about yourself?
Right. An interesting word that you go for, because I was torn between two.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one word I had lined up was deserved.
Mm-hmm.
Much to the Killie fan in the 12th man group chat, he kind of disagreed that we took a deserved lead, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But the word I'm going to go for is comfortable, because I don't think I ever really felt we were in any danger yesterday. Defensively, it's probably
Mm-hmm.
the soundest I've seen us in a long time. It
Mm-hmm.
was just we needed that breakthrough, and once we got it, I just never really felt that we were going to concede, which is rare given how nervy we've looked in recent weeks.
Yeah, I wasn't saying fortunate as in we shouldn't have won the game. It was deserved, but it's just the way
Mm-hmm.
the two main events from the game were extremely fortunate. It just happened.
Yeah,
That was the
no,
main.
no, totally. So the win takes us level on points with Celtic, albeit they have games in hand. But
Mm-hmm.
crucially, with Hibs dropping points, we've taken advantage of it, Callum. That's important.
It's very unlike us, isn't it? Good
Yeah,
to see us actually capitalising for once, and hopefully we can carry on doing so uh, in the future. To be honest, but for once, I'm very happy that we've genuinely punished them for dropping
yeah,
points.
definitely. And no real surprise to the starting 11 when it was announced. Dean Campbell maybe unfortunate to be dropped down to the bench given his performance in the previous weekend, but I think everyone expected that one in, one out.
Yeah, but we did mess up. We thought McCrory was suspended. He wasn't
We did.
suspended. It'll come into later in the future. But it was so silly. It was silly for us. But yeah, McCrory came back in. Who came back in? Ferguson came back in. What a flying start this is! I tell you, it's hot. It's hot. Ferguson came back in as expected. Yeah, did very, very well. As you can see, Dean Campbell, it was unfortunate because he did play so well, but he will come back in when McCrory is actually suspended. Maybe even next week. Not next week. Bloody hell. Am I okay? Not next week. In the midweek.
Yeah.
I need to lie down.
Ewan Duthie is going to be, and Carol Innes as well, they're going to be all over us for these mistakes, that rest assured. We could use the technology and edit out, but...
I hope it's more entertaining to see us.
Absolutely. Callum, for the first time since Erin joined the podcast, the review reached 100 listens, but if we keep making these sort of mistakes, we're going to be dropping back down those listens very quickly.
I'm sorry. It'll get better, I promise.
But one thing that did get better for Aberdeen was our finishing in the second half. A bit frustrating in the first half in the sense that we almost did everything right until we got to the final third.
Just didn't take any shots on it. I didn't really understand it at all.
Yeah.
Eventually, then when we did in the second half, you saw what happened. So what happens when you just bloody shoot? But and did Cosgrove with that free kick? Bloody hell, he rifled that, didn't he?
Yeah, no, ironic given the chances he did miss before that. But one player I was quite impressed by in the first half, albeit you quickly text me about 3 minutes in saying Scott Wright would have finished that. Conor McLennan, very impressed with his display going forward and defensively again.
It was more tongue-in-cheek. But yeah, no, I was impressed with Conor McLennan. First half, he looked very, very bright. He had that chance himself, and he put a decent ball in the box, a few decent balls in the box, actually. One with his left foot as well, which didn't expect to happen. But no, very positive stuff from Conor. Good to see him back in the team after under-21's debacle and performing well.
Yeah, and I think as well, McLennan coming into the team and moving into the role that was filled by Matty Kennedy previously. I know we touched on it last week, but again, I thought another solid sort of performance from Kennedy, and he looks livelier, getting more advanced.
He does look better sort of further up the park. There was a couple of times where he just lost the ball in such easy situations. I was thinking, like, what the hell are you doing? But he does look a bit more confident higher up the park, and just looks more of himself and sort of more comfortable, as I said. So happy, keep him up there, keep him away from the wing-back positions, please, Derek, if you're listening.
Well, probably not, given how much we slate him from time to time. But I think it's fair to say probably frustrated would be the right word at halftime, given the kind of what we were creating to an extent.
Yeah, sorry, it was just all seemed to be very good until it did, as I said earlier, to that final third, sort of the last part, the final pass, or taking a shot on it. It was just, but it did get better.
It did, but I think that frustration, to an extent, would have been compounded at the start of the second half when the substitution was announced that Tommy Hoban was coming off. Not that there was anything against Dean Campbell, because I think he had a good second half, but more that probably our best centre half was coming off with what everyone would have suspected to be an injury, because you don't substitute your best defender at halftime for no reason. But given that Devlin is out for 3 months, someone actually, I saw this before we recorded, just emphasises the importance of having fit backup centre halves, because now we're looking a bit thin on the ground in that area. Obviously, Greg Lee as well, who filled in defensively, hamstring injury as well.
I was really hoping when that's what I was thinking, maybe they're just resting him with a busy schedule coming up. Didn't want to risk him too long on that pitch. No, sadly not. It is quite worrying. Him and Devlin both out. Hopefully Hoban's isn't so bad. And Lee as well, the tweak of the hamstring. So who have we got now? We've got Considine, Taylor, and then McCrory. And then that'll probably be it. And then when McCrory gets suspended, then what happens?
Yeah, Shea Logan.
I can't wait for that.
Ronald Hernandez.
I know, he might get a look in. Maybe.
Maybe. Depends who else we can make shift into that position. Well, we've got Kennedy as well. He might drop back McLennan.
We're joking about this, but it wouldn't surprise me. It's possible.
But like we touched on, Dean Campbell was unlucky maybe not to start the game. But a solid 45 from Dean. And given that Hoban is out injured, potentially for Motherwell, encouraging to see him slot in so effortlessly into that midfield.
Yeah, definitely. I can't remember. Did he have the short sleeves or not? What
He
was it? Do you
did.
know? He
He
did.
did.
See, I'm telling you, once he got rid of that Under Armour, he's flying. But no, it's good to see he did come in and did very well. Just neat and tidy once again. So if you can keep that going, very, very positive stuff.
And I'm also sure it was him that played the through ball to Cosgrove in the last minute, obviously before he was hauled down. But I'm sure if I'm wrong, someone will be quickly on it to correct us, because we don't make mistakes on this podcast. It's seamless throughout, as we've shown
Oh,
already.
definitely. We didn't have to record. We never have to cut things out. Never at all.
No, not at all. But something that wasn't so seamless was Ryan Hedges' shot to give us the lead. Even.
There we go. That's difficult, isn't it?
Bit of deflection, but I felt it was a deserved lead.
I think it was a deserved lead, and I was just happy that finally, as soon as we take a shot on, okay, it was very, very lucky and very spawny, but it just shows if you actually get to the point where you take the shot on, you never know what can happen, even if it was a total fluke. But I'm glad it was.
Yeah, and I think I was watching Hedges on Red TV at lunchtime today, and it was interesting. He said, the manager had come in at halftime and said to him, if you don't shoot, you don't score. Start shooting on sight. It's almost like watching your Football Manager videos. When you get frustrated, you tell your players to shoot on sight, but you actually tweeted it as well. Funny what happens when you shoot a goal.
Exactly. Sometimes you do just need to. You don't like people seem to often wait for, especially in the first half, waiting for that perfect opportunity. Whereas if you just have a go, take it on, see what happens. I like that philosophy. That's my Football Manager philosophy, basically.
But I think that point, what you say, is interesting, because the one chance that stands out where if we just had a shot, you don't know what happened, was Curtis Main, right at the death of the first half. You think, hit the ball, but he tries to square it to Ryan Hedges. For me, for fantasy, that would have been ideal.
Yeah.
But the square pass goes terribly wrong, and then it becomes obviously frustrating. So it was good to see that we did kind of just go shoot on sight.
And to be fair, I think if that was Cosgrove, it would have just been absolutely well at the goal and hope for the best, which would have been better. But I did actually agree with Chris Boyd at halftime, saying, it's like 90 seconds before it's halftime or whatever it was. Just take it on. You're a striker, and he scored a couple of decent goals in the week before as well. So just take it on. Frustrating, but in the end, it didn't really matter, I suppose. Bit of Linkin Park there.
Yeah, and I liked how you're agreeing with Chris Boyd. It's not often many Aberdeen fans will do that.
I know. I feel dirty for that, to be honest.
But I certainly think the goal settled us, and like I said earlier, comfortable once we went 1-0.
Yeah, definitely. They didn't pose too many threats. But to be fair, I say Joe Lewis didn't have much to do. I mean, neither did Danny Rogers, really. He didn't have too many saves to make in the other goal. But yeah, comfortable, quiet day for Joe, and that's absolutely fine by me, given some of his recent form.
But, I mean, it was probably not the most pleasant of watches for a Sunday lunchtime. But should we complain too much about that, given it's 3 points and a clean sheet, or is there maybe a few negatives in there for you?
Not many negatives. Obviously, it wasn't pretty, as you say, like whatsoever. But the fact it was a clean sheet, we sort of limited them fairly well. I mean, Ash Taylor was just eating everything up. They just had no plan B, more to the point. They're just launching the ball at Nicky Kabamba's head, hoping for the best. But no, I think I can't really complain too much. After such poor form, to just get a couple of wins under the belt, that's the most important thing.
Are you going to admit to who you compared Ash Taylor to on Twitter?
Paolo Maldini. I'll give him the credit when he deserves it. He played really well. And not only that was he winning everything there, he did look quite competent with the ball at his feet as well. So fair play to him.
But, as I said on a previous show, okay, I shamelessly stole it from the view from the terrace, but Ash Taylor is not the second best header of the ball in the league for no reason. So when you play it to his strengths, he's going to eat it up.
It did seem absolutely ridiculous. And surely after a while of recognising it didn't work, they would have changed it. But they didn't seem to. They just set every time it was clipping the ball up for Nicky Kabamba. And Ash Taylor, it was meat and drink for the man.
Yeah, and I think that's quite evident for Killie why they're struggling in front of goals. I think it was 6 out of 7 now without a goal. So problems for them, but no problems for us. Cosgrove came on for 10 minutes. What did you make of his cameo? Because I know it divided some opinion.
Well, when he came on and he had that chance, he was through on goal. I didn't have any real confidence that he was going to bury it, and well, I was proved correct. I'm always right. Well, that's just besides the point. But then, to be fair, after missing that chance to then have the confidence to come up and whack that free kick, okay, it's very late on, but I mean, it would be easy for him to just go, all right, let Lewis Ferguson take it, whatever. But he wanted to step up and take it. So fair play to him, and he came back very well. And hopefully, with that goal, they can start coming a bit more frequently. Unlike my words coming out properly, but.
And hopefully that will add a nice million to the price tag for Newcastle United as well.
Oh God! Don't let's say about Newcastle United after this weekend as well. The better.
But we spoke up Curtis Main after last week. What did you make of his performance on Sunday? I think I thought he worked hard throughout, but there was very little service to him. But it's a kind of frustrating game probably for the strikers because he was kind of operating as a lone striker, and Hedges couldn't really get close to him. I felt yesterday.
Yeah, I don't think there was too much other than that shot which he didn't take on that he could have really done different. Again, he worked hard. That's, I mean, the least you can ask, I suppose, and he did it. Frustrating day for us watching, and probably for him giving the last service. So, you never know what happens.
And I suppose with the Cosgrove change as well, Killier pressing for an equaliser, so there is space in behind and get those long legs running and stretching the defence. But yeah, what did you make of the red card? Probably the strangest red card you'll ever see. I don't know, given the chances Cosgrove had missed prior, surely you let Rodgers go for the 50-50.
Well, definitely. I mean, it was like the 90th, it was about 30 seconds before it would have been full time. And okay, if it's 0-0 and you've got something to try hold on to, that makes sense. But you're losing 1-0, you're just going to be suspended for the next game. Okay, if he scores there, it's 2-0, but you're losing anyway. There's not much time to get back into it. There's also the chance Danny Rodgers actually does make the save. None of it made sense. It just seemed really silly. But thank God he did, to be fair. And it's good entertainment.
Yeah, it was. I mean, everyone was like, oh, you should have just let Cosgrove shoot. He probably wouldn't have scored. And then Cosgrove, proved everybody wrong. So, and one thing we talked about last week was the importance of building confidence. And with a clean sheet, another 2-0 win, that's what we've got now, confidence to take to Motherwell on Wednesday.
Yeah, exactly. It is a good group of fixtures to try and put a run together in such a busy period as well. So hopefully we can carry that on with Motherwell. To be fair, another boring 2-0 win I would absolutely take, especially after when they were up here.
Yeah, and that leads us nicely on to Wednesday, Callum. Well done. And that was the first point I was going to make. We are 13 points ahead of them with a game in hand. They're sitting fifth just now, the team that are trying to bridge the gap to the breakaway four. Surely Wednesday can't be as bad as when the two of us last met.
I don't think it can. That first sort of half an hour, 25 minutes as well, that was just total capitulation. Here's hoping we could do that to them. That would be nice. Flip it on its head. We beat them 3-0 down there not long ago, so you never know what happens. But it is just reminding me of the fact that we were about to go down there on a Friday night, and then it all went to crap and everything got cancelled. And now I'm sad.
Yeah, I was actually watching Best Limbs at the football, and boy, do I miss, just that exhilaration that celebrating a last-minute winner gives you. And to be fair, Motherwell away, there's something about Motherwell away with the boys, the Motherwell boys in their corner, and the Aberdeen fans, they the ones who want to stand and sing, go to that corner. And just when we score down there, there's always, for no reason, there shouldn't be an edge to an Aberdeen-Motherwell game, but there always is. And those of you that were at the cup game in our League Cup winning season will just remember how good a bounce Motherwell away can produce. Obviously with Considine and Hayes scoring those late goals in that game. So yeah, it actually is probably up there for me as one of my favourite away days.
Yeah, I think it's maybe not like one of the best sort of days out, but in terms of once you're actually at the game, it is really good because, as you said, like with the back and forth between like Aberdeen fans and the Motherwell boys, it is really good. And to be fair,
Mhm.
even when they start saying twist and shout, I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Yeah, they do have. I know Becky Christie how much she absolutely hates that drum, but it does create the atmosphere, and it feeds off for the away fans and the home fans, and it's just nice given Scottish football sometimes does lack a bit of atmosphere.
Hmm.
Obviously there won't be any fans there on Wednesday, but Motherwell probably thankful for that, given how poor their home form's been this season. They've lost their last two at home without scoring, and actually only won twice at Fir Park in the league this season, losing six. Is that something we can play on potentially?
Yeah, I definitely hope so. Yeah, not been on the best form. At the start of the season, I looked at Motherwell's squad and I thought, oh, they'll probably be up challenging with us, but it's not really been the
Mm-hmm.
case. Obviously, they're sort of best of the rest right now. We're also looking before we started recording. They don't have a player that scored more than 3 goals either. They've got a few that are on three. I think Tony Watt is, Callum, maybe a few more. And goals seem to be a bit of a problem for them. Obviously, they weren't against us at Pataudry, but fingers crossed. And they went well. They did go 1-0 up against Rangers previously, before throwing it away. So not on great form, and we do take some confidence from that.
Yeah, and I suppose our away record is still something to be feared.
Mm-hmm.
Is that maybe right to say in 2020, apart
Mm-hmm.
from the capitulation at Ibrox? But you did touch on there. They did score against Rangers, something that we haven't achieved this season. They did capitulate. Will they take confidence from, probably the first 70 minutes at the weekend to take that into Wednesday?
They could do, but I'm also hoping they're maybe suffering from the hammer blow of the last 20 minutes. That's what
Yeah.
I'm more leaning towards. Fingers crossed. Just clutching at straws, really.
Yeah, not like us. But
Mm.
I think, from the report, it was a very resounding defensive display
Mm-hmm.
in large parts. They didn't really create much after they went 1-0 up. So I think we'll see kind of similar to Sunday. We're going to have our work out to break down Motherwell. But hopefully, I thought on Sunday, it was probably the first time I've seen us come out the traps as quick since Ross County away.
Yeah, I'd probably say that's fair. So if we can sort of do that and come out at them and sort of unsettle them, that would be ideal. And if we can even, maybe take a couple shots and hit a couple of them on target as well, that would be even better.
Get a goal early, get a goal in the first half, and make Motherwell, who, like we've touched on there, haven't got a good record at home, have to come out and attack us. Let's not go 3-0 down after 20 minutes and
Mm-hmm.
game be over, because that would ruin Christmas for everybody
Oh
if it's
yeah,
not
that
ruined already.
festive spirit would be flowing, I tell you. Not even your waistcoat would big us up after that.
No, I know. I might even have to get the bow tie out as well.
Oh, please do, please do.
But speaking of, Motherwell and their defensive resolve, what about Aberdeen defensively? What are we going to look like on Wednesday? No, I'm assuming
Mm.
Homan's not going to be risked, even if the injury isn't severe, which obviously we pray that it isn't. McCrory, you and Duffy said St Johnston he was suspended for, so I'm going to say,
I
I'm
trust
going to
the.
go that McCrory is going to be playing on Wednesday, and you
Mm.
can blame you and not me if he isn't. So how would you kind of line us up defensively?
Yeah, I can imagine McCrory will just slot into that sort of back three, which is probably fine. I mean, it's literally the best option we have, unless we do revert back to a flat four and keep him in the middle of the park. But I suppose if he drops in, then Campbell can just come into the midfield, and I wouldn't complain about that whatsoever. I think it is probably the best option for now until he gets suspended, and then it'll just be who knows what it'll be. I'm quite worried about that.
Yeah, I think that'll be an interesting one. But again, it depends the severity of
Mm-hmm.
Tommy Hoban's injury. But you touch on there, Dean Campbell coming into midfield. I think it's fair to say, he's obviously ahead of Dylan McGeoch now in the pecking order, given the injury to McGeoch.
Mm-hmm.
But given the way he's performed in recent weeks, looking very assured next to Ferguson and McCrory, quite comfortable with him coming in. And it's good to see a positive young midfield as well that hopefully we can build on and build around in future.
Yeah, very happy. It is hard to believe they highlighted it, Ferguson, that he's so young. But yeah, it's a good point you mentioned Dean Campbell too. And if he could come in and sort of really sort of make his mark from now as well, because this is a big chance for him this season, so many games, he is probably getting a bit more game time than he was sort of last season. Then more power to him, and fingers crossed he can sort of stake his claim.
Yeah, and also not Ferguson being so young, 100 games yesterday we've not mentioned yet. Fantastic achievement.
It does seem mental, doesn't it? 100 games already, so young. But, however more he'll play for us, we've got to enjoy him while it lasts.
Stop bringing the mood down. Don't put that
Sorry,
down people's mind.
that wasn't very Christmassy.
No, and he's scored some fantastic goals in that 100 games as well.
Exactly. But what's your highlight from him in those games then? Mine's got to be Burnley. Burnley or semi-final maybe?
Oh, I mean, the Burnley game is cracking because the Burnley vloggers got a brilliant video of the away end celebrating.
Mm,
There's just me standing, just giving them heaps of abuse.
super.
And he picks me out as Four Eyes. What are you doing? So yeah, that's just great. But I think for me, the semi final beats Burnley.
I think so, yeah, because go against Rangers in the semi-finals pretty big, but also because we didn't. If we'd then gone on to knock out Burnley, then maybe, but because equalising and then we lost 3-1 after
Mm.
extra time. But yeah, um, pretty special couple goals, and he has been the man for the big occasions. So thank you, Lewis. I know you're obviously a big fan of the show.
Yeah, definitely watching. Up front, Curtis Main didn't score at the weekend. Would you
Hmm.
stick with him? You don't really want to keep chopping and changing strikers. So, if you're Derek McInnes, what would you do up front?
I think after Cosgrove's goal, he probably will come back in. Um, Maybe is a bit harsh on Main. He's done like fine, and I suppose it is a good option to then have if you sort of Main sort of comes bullies them for sort of an hour, then or 70 minutes. There's 20 minutes, half an hour to go. Then you've got Cosgrove come off the bench. That's not a bad situation to be in. So I'd be quite happy with that. But I think Cosgrove will come in after his goal possibly. But even then, the other way around, then got Curtis to come on with sort of half an hour, 20 minutes to go. So it's not bad. It's not a bad problem.
Interesting. I personally would just continue as is, try and kind of keep some form of consistency
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, we speak about the link-up play previous that Hedges and Cosgrove weren't producing what Hedges and Watkins were producing. That's two games. Him and Curtis Main have kind of tried to link up with each other. It's not going to work if we're trying this link-up play. If we keep chopping and changing, the players have got to get used to each other. So for me, I would stick with Curtis Main and worked. Okay, we were 1-0 up when Cosgrove came on, but just chuck on a big battering ram for the last 10, 15 minutes if needed. So yeah, for me, I would continue with Curtis Main.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But it's not a bad problem to have for once, is it?
No, nice to have some sort of selection dilemma.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully, we can kind of extend that gap to Motherwell in the table. What would be your one word feeling for Wednesday's game?
It's not going to be festive. Yeah, I think it's optimistic again. Sort of optimistic that we can just grind out another result. To be honest, that's. It's not very much feeling to that, but that's all. That's all I've got. I'm sorry, Glenn. What about you?
I'm going to go momentum because I think we've got momentum. Motherwell, I think you made a good point there. To put in so much effort on Saturday and probably have given Rangers probably one of their best games of the season in terms of causing them problems and frustrating them for large periods. So hopefully we can take the momentum of clean sheets, victories to Fir Park where the Motherwell have been struggling. We've got a good away record. Let's build that momentum and go into Christmas with 3 points and let's continue to spread some festive cheer for everybody.
That'd be nice. In an ideal world, that'd be the case.
And hopefully we can get some better vocabulary because we're really struggling tonight.
I know it's been an absolute nightmare.
It's a Santa hut. So, I can't. My big head is getting confined inside this.
I know this one actually fits, but it's still not great. This one, honestly, horrible. I bought it and it just doesn't fit. My head's huge. Nightmare.
And then we spoke, at the start of the podcast about, people that, might be struggling. And we just hope that, we said 100 of you, over 100 of you tuned into our last review. And we're really thankful for the support that you guys have given us since we started up this podcast. Over 1,500 listens. And that's not even all our listens that are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever you're maybe tuning in on. And I think we're approaching about 5,000 views of all our videos. So from myself and Callum, thank you for that continued support.
Yeah, I definitely echo that. You don't have to tune in to us two absolute morons just chatting absolute nonsense, but you choose to. So thank you very much. Appreciate every single one of you.
And, for myself and Callum, it's therapeutic. It helps us on a Monday or a Wednesday if we're recording in midweek, because we tend to do live reactions, which we'll be doing this Wednesday. And, it's if for you, if you're struggling and, Aberdeen is your escape, as I would call it. For me, watching Aberdeen, speaking of Aberdeen, is an escape for my problems. If even just tuning into our nonsense and struggling to get the words out helps you escape your problems, then we hope, you've enjoyed, and it's just kind of made you feel a bit better about anything that you're struggling with.
Yeah, definitely. Even if you're just laughing at us, to be honest, which it's really surprised a portion of you were. It's fine. It's fine.
We'll take it. At least today I'm not getting a massive reflection off my forehead. The Santa hat's helping that. So
every cloud is a silver lining.
Yeah, definitely. And it has been tough these last few weeks, but Boxing Day is going to see mainland Scotland go into Tier 4 lockdown restrictions. But Callum, we've got a bit of a festive cheer for everybody on Boxing Day, don't we?
We do, and I'm very, very excited. Glenn, do you want to explain what it is?
Yeah, and I suppose those of you that have voted on the Twitter page, we did run a poll and say, when would you like to see it? But Callum was going all Donald Trump. He's stopped the count. He's ignoring the rules. I'm going to throw you under the bus.
It's the scheduling. It just makes more sense. And then you can put it out in the morning, and then it sets everyone else up for a nice day of football the whole day because there's nothing else to do.
Exactly. Listen to Callum. Callum speaks sense. So last week we had the pleasure of speaking to former Aberdeen player Jamie Smith. What a pleasure it was, wasn't it, Callum?
It was another lovely man. It was good to go over sort of those memories. And as a bit younger Aberdeen fan, those times were sort of the first games I even remember anything of. So it's just nice to relive those moments, and you can all relive them too on Boxing Day.
And many of you will probably dreamed or dreamt of scoring some of the goals that Jamie scored for Aberdeen. And it's great to hear him talk through his time at Aberdeen. Another person that speaks passionately about his time at the club. And he's got some cracking tales from his time in America. And as Callum says, Boxing Day for me is all about football. It's not about family. It's just sitting in front of the TV watching football. So what better way to start your Boxing Day than listening to us interview Jamie Smith. Unfortunately, Callum, he didn't want to come on, but he was driving and he was speaking hands-free, so we'll get that in there.
Exactly. It wasn't breaking any rules, so it will be audio episode, but we will put it out on YouTube as well, and I'll try and work in some of the, when we're speaking about sort of the goal against Copenhagen, for example, I'll try to throw that in, and so it is still a bit of visual aspect to it as well, so hopefully that'll still work out pretty well.
Yeah, and stuff to look forward to, and we'll be back later on in the week. We're going to try and get the episode after Wednesday's game, either out late Wednesday, but probably first thing on Christmas Eve, just kind of given the time after full time, and maybe we have to edit some parts out, who knows. But we'll be back looking as festive as ever on Wednesday with our full-time reaction to the midweek game against Motherwell and previewing our Boxing Day fixture against St Johnstone. So from myself, take care of yourselves, and we'll be back Wednesday. Callum?
Yep, echo those thoughts. That was very professional from myself and also from me. Yep, thank you very much for listening. Follow us on the Twitter pages above, and subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify, whatever you listen on. Thank you very much.
Over 100 subscribers as well. Great.
I know, we've met our target, so thank you every single one of you. Thanks for tuning in.